Hey everybody, this is PJ Riley from Lancaster Archery out here on a perfect fall day. What a great day to introduce to you the flagship hunting bows from Mathews Archery for 2022. And what we are looking at here are the V3X bows. We've got the V3X 29 and the V3X 33. Last year Mathews came out with the V3 bow and it was 27 and 31 inches. This year they go a little longer for the X version, 29 inches, 33. Great bows from Mathews. They did so well last year, and kind of what they did this year to tweak it, besides the axle to axle length differences, is they really focused on the shooter experience and how to streamline everything. So what we're going to talk to you about are the bridge lock sight system they have there, where you can mount the system directly into the riser, not onto the outside, but if you've got a dovetail mount, it goes into the riser. That's awesome. They've had, of course, the integrate rest mount for a couple years now, and now they have, because they moved that sight inside the riser, they have these new low profile quivers. There's a fixed version and a detachable version, two versions they've got there, just to really streamline this bow so there's not much sticking off to the side. And then something else that they came out with this year is this little device here. It looks so simple, but this is called the Stay Afield System. And what it is it's a simple way to allow you to press your bow so that you can do work on your bowstring out in the field if you need to. And then there's another attachment point where you can put that on so you can work on your cables. We'll show you all how that works. But just great bows. Of course, these things shoot lights out. They're awesome. This 33-inch version, I really love this thing. We'll run into the technologies that go into these bows, but first, let's give you the specs for the V3X 29 and the V3X 33. The Mathews V3X 29 measures 29 inches axle to axle. It's got a 6-inch brace height, IBO speed rating of up to 340 feet per second. It's got a mass weight of 4.47 pounds. You're going to have let-off options of 80 or 85%. Draw length range is going to go from 25.5 to 30 inches, and your draw weight options are going to be 60, 65, 70, or 75 pounds. The Mathews V3X 33 measures 33 inches axle to axle. It's got a brace height of 6.5 inches, IBO speed rating of up to 336 feet per second. It's got a mass weight of 4.67 pounds. It's going to be available in let-offs of 80 or 85%. The draw length range goes from 27 to 31.5 inches, and it's going to be available in peak draw weights of 60, 65, 70, or 75 pounds. All right, so the V3X incorporates a lot of technologies that we have seen on Mathews bows for the last couple of years, such as this big cam they've got up here, wide limb pockets. Of course, last year they did redesign the limbs a little bit, and what they did was thin them out in the middle through here. They also shortened them up and to work in conjunction with these big risers. I mean, look at the riser they have here on this V3X 33. It's 33 inches axle to axle, and this riser is just a tick under 33 inches. This riser is actually bigger than Mathews has on its 34-inch TRX target bow. And that big riser just makes these things super rigid, and they aim like a dream. Just having all that riser length there is awesome for aiming. So back to this cam here. The cam that Mathews uses incorporates what they call switch weight technology. So you're going to have a draw length range, as we mentioned, for this bow from 27 to 31.5 inch increments. To adjust that draw length, you're going to use modules that work on every half inch, 27, 27.5, 28, 28.5, and so on. You're going to need a different module for each half inch. Well, incorporated into those modules is your draw weight. And so you're gonna pick what draw weight you want that module. Let's say I draw 29.5 inches. So I go for the 29.5 inch module, and then I can pick 60, 65, 70, 75 pounds. Whatever I want that max weight to be, that's what's gonna be built into my module. So also with your modules, when you pick your draw length and your draw weight, you're gonna pick your let off. As we mentioned, both of these bows, you have the option of 80% or 85%. That's in your module. And that's an incredible system. It used to be that if you wanted to change draw weights, you know, you had a 60 to 70 pound bow and you wanted to go to 50 to 60, it used to be that you had to change limbs. Well, with the switch weight, it's just a change of the module. And then, so this bow here is a 70 pound, that means it's 60 to 70 pounds. And I adjust the draw weight within that range, as you always do, by twisting out the limb bolts. Maxed out, it's gonna be 70 pounds. I start taking turns out, and then I can go down to 60. But then, let's say I wanted to, you know, use this bow for indoor target shooting or something. I could just get another set of modules. Now I have a 50 to 60 pound bow. So that switch weight has really been awesome through the years. All right, so as we mentioned, the V3X is just the next version of the V3 bow that came out this year, but Mathews spent a lot more focusing on the shooter experience with this bow, the user interface. And one of the things is this low profile quiver here. So this is the detachable version, but look how tight that is in there from your limb pocket out to the top of the quiver here. I mean, that's just a gap of maybe 2-3 inches instead of, you know, we're used to quivers sitting way out to the side here. This thing just is real tight in there. And this, as I mentioned, this is the detachable version. So it's just a simple flick there, and then I can twist that off. So if I'm an archer, which I am, a bow hunter who I like to have my quiver hanging in the tree, I can do that with this version. They have a fixed version as well, where it's just gonna be permanently attached at those same points. A couple of the reasons that they were able to come up with that low profile quiver was because, take a look at this sight mount here. This is a Dovetail Excel sight that goes right into the riser. There's a simple bolt holding it in place, just like you would have the knob pressing into the detents on the top of the sight bar. That's what's happening here, but it is inside the riser. Now that does a couple of things. Aside from, chiefly what that does is you're not mounting it onto the side, which, you know, you'd have your sight block and now things are sticking out to the side. You know, you'd have to account for that weight, and plus that means your quiver has to go that much farther out. You don't have to do that. Also, by moving it into the riser here, these bow sights, they can be affected by a lot of vibration in the bow. And some of that vibration coming back, you can feel that in your hand. By putting it into the riser, now you're eliminating some of that vibration. Mathews bows, they haven't had much vibration anyway the last couple years, but now we're just taking things down in small increments. So that's a real handy system. And I will tell you that if you have a sight with the dovetail bar mount, we tested a bunch. Of course, this is an Excel. That dovetail bar mount is pretty standard. We checked it with a CBE, a Spot Hog, Black Gold, some of the ones that we had sitting around. I slid them all in there and they all fit. So any sight that has that dovetail bar mount, you can use that with this bow. So that's super handy. Of course, now in conjunction with that bridge lock sight, again, this is another step in streamlining these bows, the low profile quiver. We've had the integrate rest mount now for a couple years from Mathews, and that's just a dovetail machined into the riser, and you detach it there, eliminating the need for a burger button mount on the side there. So we have that again this year. Something new we saw with the V3 last year is this device right here, that angled cable rod. So this is what Mathews calls their center guard cable arm. And what they did is they put the cable arm, the roller system, exactly in between the cams for these cables so that when you are drawing, the load on each cam is exactly the same. That just helps with knock travel and tuning, just to get that right in the center. Then your cams are doing the same thing, so when you get them timed properly, they are truly working in conjunction with one another. And one of the things I like about that cable arm is this right here. They have a little guard on the back. So, you know, in the past, some of these rollers were exposed, and if you just pressed on a cable, you could easily pop it out of that roller. Mathews has this guard right here, so that's not gonna happen. You don't have to worry about that. All right, coming down the bow, they do come from the factory with Mathews Engage grip. This is the grip they have here. It's a nice armored grip there. Gently rounded on the back here. It's comfortable on your hand. It's especially nice in cold weather. That rubberized version there, that just feels great on your hand. If you want to, you can pop that off, and Mathews has side plates so that you can have your hand just resting on the riser. It is Mathews prepared for that, so it's not an unfinished riser section underneath there. It's nice and comfortable, very flat, nice edges. Great grip system Mathews has had the last couple years on their bows. Coming down the bow, of course, you're going to see the 3D dampening system that Mathews has had the last couple years. They pushed it out in front here. They've got their harmonic dampener in there. That's great for vibration reduction. And then just looking overall at the riser. Again, this is going to look similar to the risers of the last couple years with little tweaks here and there. You're going to notice on this one, different from the V3, are these little pieces right in here in the middle. That's something that they did not have in the riser last year. Just to make things more rigid, of course, that's right over where they have their bridge lock system. So it's designed to help with the rigidity there, now having your sight mounted into the riser. And then another thing we know Mathews has done the last couple years is they have a real beefy bushing right here for your stabilizer mount. It's just a big bushing so that you can have a solid connection between your stabilizer here. Of course, you can have a mount so that you can run a side rod off the front, or if you choose to, they have the bushing on the back here, and you can of course mount a side rod there if you want to as well. So something else Mathews kept with their cam system this year is super popular is they have their top hat system. So in between the cam and the limb, you're going to see these little black spacers. And there are different sizes. So if I'm having an issue tuning my bow, I can change those. They're called top hats, top hat spacer kits. And I can change those so that I can move the cam left or right, wherever I need to get it to get a perfect bullet hole when I'm tuning through paper. It's a real simple system. Pressing the bow, popping the axle out, just taking those top hat spacers out, swapping them back in. They are each one piece. A lot of times you're going to see bows that have multiple washers in there, and as soon as you take that axle out, those washers go everywhere. Well, these are actually a series of tubes, different size tubes, and you're going to put one in each side. So it's a very simple system. I really like it. It's great for just moving that cam where you need it to get that tuning down perfect. All right, so the Stay Afield system that we talked about. Again, this is so that you can make some repairs if need be. You can basically press your bow out in the field so you can do things with your string or your cables in case there's some kind of emergency out in the field. And so how that works is you're going to see these little posts here on the cam. You're going to see one on this side and you're going to see one on this side. And these two are very close to the bowstring. So what you're going to do is you're going to hook each end of the Stay Afield cord onto there. Now, how you do that is pretty ingenious. First, you're going to take, assuming your bow is maxed out, that is, you have the limb bolt screwed all the way in, you're going to take 4 turns out just to ease the pressure on there. And then what you're going to do is you're going to take the bowstring, get it around the string stop there, and you're just going to squeeze everything together. And what that does is it causes the cams to rotate in, giving you the room you need to put that cord onto each one of those posts on the cam. When you do that, then your bowstring is going to be slack. Now you can take it off if you need to, do whatever you need to. That's how you're going to do the bowstring. Now coming down, let's say you got to work on your cables. You're going to see on the inside of the cam, you're going to see another post right there on the bottom cam and a matching one on the top cam. Now this one, I will say, you are going to need 2 people to get this one to work. Because what you're going to do is you're going to pull in on each side of the cables here to get those cams. You'll see when I'm pulling down on this on these cables, now my cams are rotating in, and it takes 2 people because you need 2 hands in here to pull these cables in, while someone else then connects your Stay Afield system to each of those posts. Now you have enough slack to work on your cables. When you have it in the string position, there's not enough slack that you can disconnect your cables. So just something real simple. I mean, think about that. You're out in the mountains hunting, you know, back there hunting elk or whatever, and you have something, your peep came out, or, you know, something where you need to work on your string. This tiny little device here, I mean, it weighs nothing. If you have this in your pack, this saves you having to come out of the mountains and go into town to use a bow press. So super simple system. I really like how Mathews thinks about the end user in some of these accessories that they come up with, because it just makes life simple. I mean, that's what they do. The Silent Connect also is where you would connect a sling. Mathews makes a special sling that connects to the 2 Silent Connect posts on there. And it's just quiet, easy, simple Silent Connect system. It's just something handy to have on your bow. All right, so shooting the V3X. These bows shoot just like the Mathews of the last few years in terms of the draw cycle is super friendly and super efficient. You know, it requires effort at the front end of the cycle, and then you can just kind of relax as that cam rolls over and the string comes back. With that 85% let off, that's what I shoot. Just super comfortable at full draw. These bows draw a lot lighter than they feel. This one is a 70 pounds. I would have guessed 65 when I drew this back. They're just super nice to draw. No hand shock. I mean, they've gotten rid of that hand shock the last couple years. They're just taking it down by increments now. So the biggest differences this year in the bows themselves, besides the accessories that you can put on there and the features that pertain to the accessories, it's the lengths. If you got the 27 last year, you know, now we have the 29 option. So there's a little different option there. As I mentioned, the 33, man, I just love this thing. To me, this holds and shoots like a target bow. I love the way this bow shoots. At 33 inches, I tend to like a longer axle to axle. Who else would like those? Your Western hunters, folks who are planning to shoot longer distances, they're probably going to prefer a longer axle to axle bow with that big riser. If you have a longer draw length, if you're drawing 30 inches, this may have a more friendly string angle to you than the 29. 29-inch bow there, that's going to be bread and butter for those eastern whitetail tree stand bow hunters. It's short, it's maneuverable. At that 29 inches with that big cam though, it does feel like a bigger bow. That with that long, super long riser that they have there in the 29-inch bow, that's going to feel like a 31, 32-inch bow with those features built in there. Just a nice bow for those tree stand, you know, you're in tight quarters, ground blinds, you know, heavy brush, situations where you have shots that are up close and where you want to be maneuverable. That 29 inch is going to be your sweet spot. But for me, I like this 33. It just shoots like a dream. I was able to get this thing tuned really quickly, started shooting it, The speed is not blazing fast, but it's surprisingly fast. The V3X33, this one's rated up to 336 feet per second, so it's got the arrow speed that you're gonna need as a bow hunter. I don't really worry too much about arrow speed. I'm more about accuracy, ease of drawing. You know, this bow here is gonna double for me. I'm gonna spend a lot of time shooting 3D with it, so I want it to be comfortable to shoot. I want it to be fun to shoot. That's what this one is. I think you'll find that with either of these bows just because of that nice draw cycle. The 29's got a 6-inch brace height. This one's got 6.5. They're just super nice bows to shoot. All right, so that is the V3X29 and the V3X33, brand new flagship bows from Mathews for 2022. Mathews is always coming out with cool stuff. All the accessory features they build into these bows is just awesome. If you like this video, give us a thumbs up. If you want to see more videos like it, subscribe to our YouTube channel. Don't forget to click that bell to get notifications whenever we put out new videos. And as always, if you have any questions, you can visit us at LancasterArchery.com.